All right, I believe we are on the fifth Q&A video of this night, so things are going fun. This is a lot of fun. I'm liking doing this for you guys, and same rules apply. I'm gonna try to keep it around 10 minutes and then answer as many as I can get. So here we go. Frasco Fidel. What are the benefits of training beltless while deadlifting and squatting, and when should someone decide to use the belt? I've been going beltless, but I'm definitely not lifting extremely heavy. Just yet, slowly moving on up in the weight. Um, I would say this is more of a personal preference. I tend to keep my lighter sets done without a belt, just to build my core stability. I think anytime I get around 85% of my true, not my true, of my maxes of something that would be like a 90% effort for me, I would probably just wear a belt for safety. Um, it can affect the way you lift. It can affect your technique on certain things. When you have a belt, you can push out against it and create a lot more tension within yourself, and you can brace a lot better. And so it does become a benefit to your training that you can handle bigger weights more safely. A lot of athletes that say they don't like using belts are generally bigger guys. Smaller guys have a lot less to support the weight. If you weigh 270 pounds and have a gut, you come down, you can lean on that a little bit more. I noticed that when I lost weight and cut for 198 the first time after I had gotten fairly heavy over that, it was a really big difference for me to not have the little bit of extra cushion there to go through. And so a belt really does kind of equalize that for the people that don't have that thick built torso, and especially if you're just kind of starting out with the weights. I think it's good to build that core strength and not become dependent on a belt at any point. But when you're going to things that may be potentially dangerous, and 85 to 90 plus percent of maximum lifting, I think generally you should use a belt. There's other times when it's good to go fairly heavy without. I've noticed that I've done some recently. I'm going to be doing some pretty heavy beltless work, just to force that adaptation and try to raise my base level strength a little bit without a belt. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary to use for all times in any sense of the word. Jonathan DeCurtis. Ben, what church do you go to? You have such great insights on life. I find it hard to believe that I have to believe you're influenced by something spiritually based. Also, what are your tips for avoiding shoulder injury? Obviously, two questions that are clearly related. I do live with faith. My father is a minister, and growing up, I never got lectured as a kid. I got preached to, and I've had philosophical conversations with my dad ever since I was a kid. My little sister is pursuing ministry in her collegiate studies right now, and I I do live with faith. I try not to push anything on anyone else. Your belief system is your belief system, and I feel like I am more effective living my faith through representing the person that I feel like more people should act like whenever they're trying to stand for something, when they stand for something that's bigger than themselves. In my case, it is my Lord. So I don't know. I hope that was not too vague, but I generally that's how I feel about my faith. I live it, and if you want to know about it, you can ask, but I'm not going to make you listen to it. My tips for avoiding shoulder injury are, honestly, use common sense. If you're doing something and your shoulders start to hurt, stop doing it. Anytime that if you're doing something, your knees start to hurt, figure out what's going on. Find out if you're doing something wrong. This is where videotaping your workouts comes in really handy, because if you see that you're doing something that is putting you in danger of something, you can adjust that behavior before it becomes an issue. Also, make sure that you are remembering what you're training for. Remember what lifts are important to you: the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift. While an awesome overhead is really cool to have, if it hurts your shoulders to train it really heavy, realize that that's not a lift that you're competing in as a power lifter. If you're doing strongman or something where it matters, then do that. But for me, I tend to develop issues when I do really heavy overhead work, and so I have had to find ways of doing other things to improve that, whether it be more volume, frequency, intensity, to bring up those weaknesses without doing the thing that hurts. So that's my advice there. Use common sense and remember what you're training for. Jonathan Carmargo Popham. I am butchering these names terribly, I'm sure. I'm so sorry. What are, in your opinion, the top assistance exercises for squat and bench? For me personally, the best assistance exercises for squats are pause squats and pin squats, where you go down to the bottom and you stop. The biggest trouble I have with a squat is coming out of the hole, like most raw lifters, and so I train really hard. The idea that those situations where I stop myself from getting momentum and just make the lift as hard as possible at the bottom and get used to that reversal is the biggest thing for me. So I train that. With bench pressing, for me, tricep work. Just heavy triceps, frequent triceps, volume and volume upon volume of triceps, because just killing my triceps with volume and hard work has improved my bench more than anything else. And obviously my stance on the best way to improve those two lifts is to squat and to bench, because that's the best way to build any lift, is to train it, in my opinion. Safi Afsal. What's the best way to avoid temptation when on a diet, in life, etc.? It's the same thing that I said about finding the positive in anything. It's a choice. If you can look to what you're trying to accomplish and tell yourself, is this instant gratification more important to me than what I'm working for? Very rarely does someone do something that they regret later that wasn't exactly what they wanted at the time. And so when those two things coincide, when what you want at the time is on the same track as what you want in the future, that is when you're going to be a successful person. But those two things have to match up, and so you have to figure out your priorities, and you have to know what you want, so that every decision you make on the way doesn't pull you away from that. And it just comes to from being patient and learning to look to the future, because that's where real goals come from. While life may be fleeting, and while we may do a lot of things in living in the moment, the YOLO nation, you have to keep in mind, if you want to achieve something that's bigger than that single moment, you have to be willing to open yourself up to look to the future. And I think that's really important in anything, in a relationship, in lifting, in schooling and educating yourself, in everything. Looking to that future is what can take you out of temptation and get you to where you want to be. Omari Crawford. Do you ever consider re-signing with Animal? They seem to be trying to take the sport to another level with the new guys they've added. I have a great deal of respect for that supplement company. Universal Nutrition and Animal were great to me when I was with them, and I have nothing negative, no poor words to throw their way. I think they're great. I love what they're doing with the new guys. I love the support they're giving to Brandon and Eric and Dan and Garrett and all these guys, and they're all really nice guys who all deserve it. Honestly, I stand where I stood when I left. I'm not taking supplements right now. I'm not using the product that I would be representing, and to me that institutes to I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't like lying to people. I don't like not being upfront and making videos and saying that I'm doing this thing when I'm not, or if I'm hiding something from people. And I feel like if I was to re-sign with a supplement company, I wasn't using their products, I'd be doing that. And so that's why I don't feel like I'd be joining anything like that. If I start to take supplements again, I drink a lot of Monster energy drinks right now, and so if anybody wanted to hook up some sort of sponsorship with Monster, that's like the only supplement that I'm consistently taking now, just because I feel like I'm slightly addicted to them, which may or may not be the best thing for me. Anyway, I think I got time for one more. Scott Jones. Do those guys doing kipping pull-ups with poor form irk you a bit? And what about barefoot squatting? Are the shoes necessary? Sounds like someone is not very happy with the CrossFit. Honestly, kipping pull-ups is really hard to do, and I respect the people that do the CrossFit Games. Just like I would hope that they would respect me in my sport. When someone works their way up to the top of their physical capabilities and whatever they're pursuing, that is something that is to be acknowledged and respected. Doesn't mean I necessarily want to do it, um, but I don't feel like I would want to tear down someone else because they're pursuing something in a different way than I am. There's a lot of people that do things that they care about 100% that I don't care about. There's a lot of people that would rather be really, really good at Call of Duty than squat a whole lot of weight. And our priorities are different, and so that's totally their world. As far as barefoot squatting, for me, I wear insoles in my lifting because I have bad arches, just genetically, and that caused a lot of spinal issues with some pelvic adjustments that I had a couple years back. I had to deal with that and didn't know what it was, so I got insoles that I wear in all my shoes. So I don't really go barefoot ever for anything. But yeah, that's about the time for this video. Still trucking along through these. It may end up being 10-part a 10-part Q&A thing, and I'll just upload the videos as I can. But thank you guys for sticking with it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.